So before Barack Obama gave his speech at the DNC, me and Crystal were talking about it, and I said to her, you know, I really hope that he doesn't go back to classic 2008 Obama, because the theme of 2008 Obama was like hope and change and unity and bipartisanship. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys remember this, and if you don't remember, you can go back and like watch the speeches. But his big thing was like, there's not red states and blue states, there's only the United States of America. And it's very like aspirational and forward-looking. But honestly, in today's day and age, it sort of feels like a relic from the past, because people are more cynical, they're more pessimistic, they're more angry, they're more bitter, right? And so that kind of talk just comes across as like cheap politician talk, right? So I said to Crystal, I wonder what he's going to do, because he could do just a classic Obama speech, but I don't think it'll hit as hard. Now, my mistake was underestimating the rhetorical ability of Barack Obama. Because boy, oh boy, was I surprised at the angle he took. So now, look, to be fair, he did eventually get to his classic themes of hope and change and unity and, you know, improving things, making things better, going forward. He did get to that eventually. But he sort of did it in a new and unique way and used, like, I guess, personal anecdotes to sort of make those arguments. And he did that second. The first thing he did was absolutely brutalize Donald Trump. So in other words, he adjusted to the times. He's like, okay, that when they go low, we go high shit didn't fucking work. It was really dumb. So now I got a chainsaw and I'm coming after you, right? So I'm going to show you the part where he goes after Trump. Prepare yourselves, man. All I have to say is prepare yourselves.
And as we gather here tonight, the people who will decide this election are asking a very simple question. Who will fight for me? Who's thinking about my future, about my children's future, about our future together? One thing is for certain, Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question. Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
Did he just mock his dick size? Did he just mock his dick size? Did he just imply Trump has a tiny peepee? Is that what he just did? Oh my God. All right, I'm gonna run it back. You tell me. You tell me. Look, he did it so he has just enough plausible deniability to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything. I was talking about his crowd size. He did just enough plausible deniability. Here we go.
The crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
Look at his hands. Look at his hands. Come on, man. Come on.
Crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
Oh, he did it. He did it. Look, I gotta say, I love it. In other words, he's like, look, you guys think you're so tough and so strong because you're just such assholes and you spew vile shit all the time. Two could play at that game, bitch. You think we don't have the ability to do? We have the ability to do that. We were trying to be bigger people. We were trying to hold true to high-minded, highfalutin civic decorum values. But if you're insisting on throwing that shit out the window, okay, game on, bitch. That's what I take away from this. That's what I take away from this. And I gotta be honest, I think, like, Obama going Insky is honestly way preferable to the standard hopey, changey, forward kind of Obama. Because this is more real, right? That you know, behind closed doors, this guy's like, Trump is a fucking asshole and he's a fucking idiot. And so if you're saying that shit behind closed doors, say that shit in front of the cameras. Because if there was any superpower Trump ever had, it's that. It's like, no, I'll say the same thing into the microphone that I was saying when I was behind closed doors with just my close confidants. I'll say that. And it made people, oh, unfiltered, shooting from the hip. I kind of like that. That was the reaction of the crowd. And so basically, this is Obama saying, I could play that game too, bitch. It's not that, it's pretty easy to have no filter. All you have to do is remove the filter. That's all you, okay, good, game on. And look, Trump can't hold up to this because Trump's not as smart as Obama. He's not as smart as him. Oh, God, and I'm sure his meltdown is going to be epic. I'm sure his meltdown already happened, and I just haven't seen it yet. But I'm sure it's epic. And I am waiting for conservative media to be baited into defending the size of Trump's dong. You know somebody's going to make the argument, right? You know somebody's going to make the argument. And by the way, they cannot turn around and say, oh, my God, this guy is referencing to penis size. That's across the line, sir. Because Trump very famously did that shit in 2016. Remember? They say I have small hands. Let me tell you something. I've never heard that before. They say, if this is small, then other things must be small. I promise you, we have no problem. I promise you. Got no leg to stand on. Look, the when they go low, we go high shit never fucking worked. It never worked. But my philosophy is not when they go low, we go low, or when they go low, we go lower. My philosophy is when they go low, we tell the truth. Like, just tell the truth. Because the truth is brutal and savage enough to expose the frauds for who they are. All right, here we go. He's not even done yet. That was the best part. When I saw that live, I was like, oh my God. All right, here we go.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes.
The crowd knows. They know.
It just goes on and on and on. The other day, I heard someone compare Trump to the neighbor who keeps running his leaf blower outside your window every minute of every day. Now, from a neighbor, that's exhausting. From a president, it's just dangerous. The truth is, Donald Trump sees power as nothing more than it means to his ends. He wants the middle class to pay the price for another huge tax cut that would mostly help him and his rich friends.
Facts.
He killed a bipartisan immigration deal written in part by one of the most conservative Republicans in Congress.
True.
That would have helped secure our southern border because he thought trying to actually solve the problem would hurt his campaign.
The reason why that's such a potent line of attack is because it's true. Okay, conservatives, okay, Republicans, you say you're serious. You say you care about policy. You say these are your values. Okay. Well, here you have, look, I'm sorry. Call a spade a spade. The Democrats and the Republicans, the elected officials, are really not that far off on the issue of immigration. The Republicans are a little more brutal, right? They're a little more hardline. But generally speaking, the Democrats also want a tough, strong border. They also want to deport people. In fact, Joe Biden deported more people than Trump, both as a raw number and as a percentage. And so they don't disagree with each other that much. So here you have the toughest border crackdown in decades, and largely written by a conservative Republican senator, Lankford from, I think, Wyoming. And Trump said, no, I don't want you to do this because I like it, and I think it will help Biden. That's what he said. So in other words, I mean, look, the conclusion is inescapable. He sincerely believes in nothing, right? Now, well, honestly, from a left perspective, we got lucky that Trump did this because Trump cares more about his own ego, his own narcissism, his own perceived victories, that he's like, let me kill this bill. I'm happy that bill got killed. That bill was terrible. Basically made it so that, like, there is no more asylum. And asylum is a right. They say, no, there is no more. We're just going to end asylum, basically. Right? But again, what it shows is they don't believe in anything, because in a world that made sense, they would come out and say, Thank you, Joe Biden, for deporting more people than Trump, both as a raw number and as a percentage. Thank you, Joe Biden, for helping to craft this bipartisan bill, which cracks down massively even more on the border. Thank you, Joe Biden, for those executive orders you did that crack down hard on the border as well. But they can't do that because they honestly don't believe in anything, and they're either ignorant or they're liars, right? There are no other options. This isn't like a good faith disagreement. And that's why that line hits. And remember, Obama was the king of, I'm going to meet the Republicans 70% in their direction, and then they're going to spit in my eye, and I'm going to say to them, like, see, you guys are the unreasonable. I just gave you 70% of what you wanted. Now, of course, in my opinion, the problem is don't go 70% in their direction. That's a bad idea. I don't agree with those policies. But it really does help rip the mask off of the fact that the Democrats are center-right, and the Republicans are off the fucking spectrum far right. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, let's keep going.
Do not boo. Vote. He doesn't seem to care if more women lose their reproductive freedom, since it won't affect his life. And most of all, Donald Trump wants us to think that this country is hopelessly divided between us and them, between the real Americans, who of course support him, and the outsiders who don't. And he wants you to think that you'll be richer and safer if you will just give him the power to put those other people back in their place. It is one of the oldest tricks in politics, from a guy whose act has, let's face it, gotten pretty stale. We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse. America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
Look, everybody always said about Obama, hey man, he gives a great speech. He's super inspiring. And that is absolutely true. But I got to be honest, I think he's better now than he was then. I do. Because you can maybe argue in 2012 when he was against Mitt Romney, he had a brief period where he really ramped up the populist rhetoric on the campaign trail. And the 2012 version of Obama is tied with this version. But I like this version more than '08. Because this is tougher, more aggressive, more sharp, more direct, more truthful on the attacks against Trump than I've seen him with attacks against other Republicans. Right? He's usually kumbaya, reach across the aisle, we're going to break the fever, I'm going to be super reasonable, I'm going to, sit across the table from you and take your insane position and meet you halfway. This was more, nah, I got the brass knuckles out, son. I got the brass knuckles out. He implied Trump has a tiny dick, bro. And he gave himself just enough plausible deniability to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was talking about his crowd sizes. I don't know what you're talking about. I was talking about his crowd sizes. I wasn't talking about his dick. You were talking about his dick, weren't you? You were talking about his dick, weren't you? You were definitely talking about his dick, bro. We saw. The crowd knew. I knew when I was watching live. I knew. But look, I love the attacks. The policy stuff he brought up there, absolutely true. Trump wants to cut taxes for the rich yet again. In his first term, his biggest legislative accomplishment was a tax cut bill that 83% of the benefits went to the top 1%. Corporations got a big tax cut. It incentivized outsourcing, even though Trump ran as the anti-outsourcing guy. He helped lead to more outsourcing. We lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs under Trump, gained 800,000 back under Joe Biden. The immigration point, it's substantively correct. What he's saying is substantively correct. And look, this just reminds you, I'll end on this point. This just reminds you, if we didn't have term limits, Barack Obama, even though he just had 8 years in office, even though he did a lot of things that pissed a lot of people off, not just on the right who hates him no matter what, but also people on the left who had legitimate criticisms of Obama. But I think if we didn't have term limits and Obama ran in 2016, could run in 2016, Obama would have beaten Trump handily. Hillary lost to Trump, even though she won the popular vote. Obama absolutely would have beaten Trump, and there wouldn't have been a Trump era. It wouldn't have happened. Because this guy, like I said, as he gets older, I think he's even better at giving speeches, at delivering it. And so, goddamn, he had that place on fire. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.